Could we have $2 billion movies?
Could we have 4?
Ooh, 4. Freakier Friday makes $1 billion? It's possible.
Thunderbolts has like a lot going for it. There is a true chemistry that exists among that cast that I'm not seeing yet from Fantastic Four First Steps. Jurassic World Rebirth, though, the fact that it is a Jurassic franchise, I think this is an easy $1 billion. I think this movie's gonna make ton of money. Welcome back to New Rockstars. Will Fantastic Four First Steps be the movie of the summer? Will this be the first steps of a new cinematic reality where people go back to the movie theaters again and believe? Or will someone else make us believe that a man can fly again? What will be the biggest movie of this year? What will be the Deadpool and Wolverine really Inside Out 2 of this year? What will be the Barbie of this year? I see a lot of contenders on a list and Fandango ranked it. We're going to talk about it today.
That's right. This is the Sneak Peek, the weekly show on New Rockstars where we look ahead to the future of fandom. I'm Brandon Barrick, and joining me today, it's Erik Voss, of course.
Hi, everybody. Hello, Brandon. Good to be with you. Jessica was feeling a little under the weather, so she's recovering right now, but you'll see her back on the channel.
Yeah, I blame all those children throwing popcorn at the Minecraft movie. You're spreading germs, you little chicken jockeys.
That's right. You should just take the popcorn from the bottom of the bucket rather than the popcorn in your mouth. And throw it at people.
They're throwing their mouth popcorn.
Also, have you heard of bird flu going around with these chickens? Don't bring chickens places. Are you crazy? Of course you are. You're seeing Minecraft, right? There's a reason you're there. And before we begin, Audible is my go-to platform for audiobooks, and I cannot wait to listen to Sunrise on the Reaping on Audible. Sunrise on the Reaping is the newest title of the Hunger Games series from Suzanne Collins. So thanks, Audible.
Thank you, Audible. I hate reading books, and I love listening to them.
I love listening. I love it. Okay, so let's talk about Fantastic Four First Steps and Superman and all these other movies, including Jurassic World Rebirth, and we're going to go through Fandango's ranking. They surveyed over 5,000 moviegoers to find out the most anticipated summer movies this year. And Brandon, you also found the similar list that they did last year.
Yeah.
Just to get some historical context here.
Yeah, Fandango does this every year. At the beginning of the year, they'll see what everyone's most anticipated movies are. But they also, around this time of the year, they do whatever everyone's most anticipated summer movies.
Yeah.
And it's almost summertime. This is going to be a big summer for movies. You know, last year was a little tough coming off the strikes. A lot of things got delayed, got moved around, but this summer it's going to be packed.
Yeah.
Could we have $2 billion movies again this summer? Could we have 3?
Could we have 3? Could we have 4?
Ooh, 4.
I think it's possible to have 4.
Freakier Friday makes $1 billion. It's possible.
Well, here's the list from Fandango. We'll go from 10 to 1.
Yeah.
At number 10, Brandon, you want to break it down for us?
Yes, number 10 is Freakier Friday, coming out August 8th. This is the sequel to Freaky Friday, bringing back Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. She's back on the big screen, folks. She's done her time in Netflix jail, and they're putting her back on the big screen.
At number 9, we have Lilo and Stitch, the live-action version of Lilo and Stitch, coming May 23rd. Will it have Hawaiian roller coaster ride?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is interesting, right? This is another live action adaptation of a classic Disney movie. But this Disney movie doesn't have as many, built-in songs. This is not going to be like a musical. This is not like The Lion King or Snow White or something like that. Like, this is more of like a straight adaptation of a Disney animated film, coming to the big screen. So I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Stitch, a beloved Disney character, not by this gentleman, but a lot of people love Stitch. I don't like Stitch. I find him very annoying. I don't like Angel. I don't like any of those little aliens. Get him out of here.
I'm
getting
Stitch.
Angry faces in the studio here. I don't like Stitch. I think he's a little troublemaker, and I don't like him. I don't like him.
He's a rascal, but he's a little tramp. We love Stitch. We love Stitch. Stitch, come on the show. Come on the show. Yeah, he's great. He's meta, and those those 90s movies that he crossed into a whole new world, and the ballroom of Beauty and the Beast. He's the best.
Is he the Deadpool of like the Disney animated universe?
He is, but less annoying than Deadpool, I would say.
It's true.
Right?
It's true.
Right? I'm seeing some nods around the room.
So between these two, these are both Disney movies, right? Between these two, who do you think is going to have a better box office?
Lilo and Stitch, hands down. Easy win. Yep. I think Freaky Friday is Freakier Friday it's a weird remake. It was a fairly successful 2004 film. That was like the year of Lindsay Lohan, right? She was in everything. And then like Freaky Friday, I think, was just capturing that wave. I don't know if it's a franchise that, a whole generation needs to come back.
This is like a nostalgia play, obviously. This does feel like this was going to be a Disney Plus streamer, right? And they're like, let's put it in the theaters, which I like that. Put more movies in the theaters, please. But this might have a little bit of like, the elder millennials who grew up with with the first movie, bring in their kids to this movie, having their own Freaky Friday moments as the movie makes them transfer consciousness with their children. And this movie is going to have like multiple swaps, I think. There's more generations getting involved. I don't know, but I think you're right that Lilo and Stitch will have a big box office.
Next on the list at number 8, a Fandango survey answers said they're most excited for How to Train Your Dragon on June 13th. It's a live action How to Train Your Dragon. Another live action How to Train Your Dragon. I think this could be our $4th billion movie this summer, Brandon.
Okay. I mean, this one looks like a shot-for-shot remake of the animated film. Universal Parks is rolling out the first major theme park to come to the U.S. since like 2001, Epic Universe. It has a whole How to Train Your Dragon land. Now that's more themed on the animated film, I would say, in its design. But it looks like this live action adaptation is going to take a lot of that design. Even the design of Toothless seems like a pretty straight copy from how it looked in the animated movie.
Yeah, the texturing on it even looks like, the texturing that the animators used for the original films.
And I forget, have they greenlit a sequel to this?
They did. They announced that they're so confident in this movie. CinemaCon viewers said this was so good that on the, wave of that, Universal's like, all right, let's do another one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it. This could be a $1 billion movie.
I think it could be.
It's a beloved franchise.
I think it could be. Number 7 on this list is 28 Years Later. This is high up for me on my personal list. So a legacy from the 28 Days Later.
And this is 28 years.
28 years.
Okay.
Aaron Taylor Johnson is coming back. Ray Fiennes is in the movie. The trailer, I think, was the best trailer to release this year.
It was a good trailer.
Better than the trailer for Fantastic Four, Superman, or Thunderbolts. And these have been some very good trailers. I think that trailer for 28 Years Later was so well edited to the creepy Kipling poem of soldiers marching off to war. That audio, it scares me. I still think about
creepy.
it.
The skeleton towers, the infected individual who we all thought was Cillian Murphy. They let us think that for 3 days, and then they were like, "It's not Cillian Murphy, you dummies." This one looks good. A nice. I'm not going to call it a zombie movie because they're not zombies. They're infected. But I think
the rage virus.
Yes, the rage virus. This could be a big pleaser, right? Yeah. We don't get a ton of horror movies during the summer. And this one's coming in June. Yeah. So I think, it could really stand out.
It will, and I think it will be the highest grossing of this franchise.
Oh, okay.
I think just the marketing behind it, the stars behind it, the team behind it, and people have such fond memories of 28 Days Later. I think this will be the highest grossing of this franchise.
Okay. I'll take that bet.
All right. What's at number 6?
At number 6, we have, hold on to your butts for this title, From the World of John Wick, Ballerina. Shortened to Ballerina by a lot of people. But the technical title of this movie is From the World of John Wick, Ballerina, coming out June 6th. This is, of course, takes place in the John Wick universe.
Yes.
Ana de Armas plays a ballerina who's also a killer. I believe Keanu Reeves makes an appearance in this movie. They did reshoots for this movie. Okay. I think they added him back in. Personally, I've gotten everything I want out of the John Wick universe, but they're going to keep trying. We know that a John Wick 5 is coming. That got announced at CinemaCon. I'm interested in it. I don't know. I'm a little worried about the reshoots they had to do on this movie because I think it was supposed to come out last year, and then they wound up doing some reshoots for it. So I don't know. What do you feel about this movie?
I love this franchise. I'll watch everything in this franchise. I think this will be a test for Ana de Armas' star power. I think she, was great in Knives Out. She was really great in that last Daniel Craig No Time to Die 007 film. I like her and everything I see her in, but now she's going to be leading this movie. Yeah. And I think Hollywood's kind of waiting to see, can she carry her? Can she open a movie? Because not a lot of big stars can do that.
Right.
So I'll watch it.
It'll be interesting to see what this adds to the lore of The John Wickiverse?
The lore is crazy. The
don't
lore
really understand.
makes no sense. And I think you have to approach the lore of John Wick with just like a bit of a sense of humor, because they don't hold themselves to the lore.
No.
And even death is not really real, obviously, if
Mr. Wick's returning.
If John's coming back.
I don't know.
Number 5 on our list, Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts, coming May 2nd. And everything they released for this movie, from a trailer to an absolute cinema trailer, I mean, this might be the best marketed Marvel film that we've seen in a long time.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, the just the nature of the marketing, the sense of humor of the marketing. It's not like overwhelming the way Deadpool and Wolverine was overwhelmingly marketed. And I'm just trying to remember how much fun it's been to go through each of these movies' marketing life cycles. Captain America: Brave New World, we got like a bit too much with all the Red Hulk stuff way too early. And then after that, it's like, what exactly is this movie? Some of the marketing had some interesting kind of animation into it, but we could sense that something might have been off. And then Fantastic Four, we're kind of in the middle of the life cycle, but Fantastic Four has had some clever stuff, with the countdown, the NASA countdown. But I think the every Sunday night posts on Fantastic Four have been really fun. But there's just something about like the team behind it definitely feels like this is a team who created Beef on Netflix. And I like that. I really like that.
They put out that Absolute Cinema trailer where they compared they were pointing out all the A24 movies that these actors have been in. They've been doing a big push on Fantastic Four, I think even more than they've been doing on this movie. I mean, Fantastic Four had a whole segment, a whole hour on Good Morning America. A month ago, 2 months ago, a month and a half ago.
In February.
And this one, they had a big presence at CinemaCon, a lot of fun. I mean, the actors seem to be having a lot of fun on their press tour. It's interesting to see this movie halfway in this list. Right? Here at New Rockstars, we talk about Marvel 90% of the time. So we've been hyped on this movie for a while. And I think seeing where kind of the general Fandango audience sees this movie is interesting. Now, we've been hearing that like people who've seen screeners of this movie or like, early screenings have said it's really good.
Yeah.
Like if you're tired of the regular kind of like superhero movie, this is totally not that. They're having a lot of fun in it. I'm very excited to see it. I think this is a fair spot for it, for like the general audience. And I'm glad to see it so high on like a general audience list. And in a year where we're getting 3 Marvel movies, this probably is maybe the second best one. Yeah,
it could be the sleeper hit for a lot of people. Between this, Captain America 4, and even Fantastic Four First Steps, we'll see. I think a lot of people might be like, you know what? Thunderbolts is going to be the one I rewatch. Let's do the re-release on Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts has like a lot going for it. There is a true chemistry that exists among that cast that I'm not seeing yet from Fantastic Four First Steps.
Okay.
Like I get Pedro Pascal, Eben Masbackrack.
Pedro's got 10 movies to promote this year.
Sure. And I think all these people, when they're on set, when you see these scenes, it's going to work. It's going to click. But they seem kind of tired and a little nervous.
They seem like they need a good cry together or something. The Thunderbolts cast rolling up in Vegas, looking like they've been partying all night, was like fun. And I think, David Harbour and Florence Pugh, they play that relationship so well. It looks like Wyatt Russell's having fun after having maybe a rough time with his character in Falcon and Winter Soldier, but he's kind of like a really bad dude. So I'm excited to see this. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, always a treat.
I think of the 3 Marvel movies to come out this year, this one has the lowest stakes, and that's benefiting Thunderbolts. I mean, Captain America: Brave New World, the stakes were so high as the first Sam Wilson Captain America movie. So ended the fact that Red Hulk was in it. There's just so much writing on that. Fantastic Four First Steps might have, maybe second to Superman, the highest stakes placed on it to kind of prove a proof of concept to the film going audience that Marvel still has the mustard, still knows what they're doing,
the juice,
and that the Marvel brand can still deliver the goods. But Thunderbolts, I believe I saw today, was expected to make 70 million opening weekend box office.
That's what they're tracking right now.
And we're less than a month out, so those tend to be pretty accurate. That's a little on the low side, but I think for something called Thunderbolts with an asterisk in the title, not a lot of people know what the Thunderbolts brand is, and Marvel movies kind of are based on people knowing what that title name is and who that character or characters are. So it's kind of like we really should compare its box office performance to the first Guardians of the Galaxy. And I think it could be what the Guardians of the Galaxy was back in phase 2. Like, it was just a change of pace. It's characters not everyone knows immediately, but man, there's something about that team that works.
Right.
And
I've seen those comparisons made. Two people saying that, like, this is like that movie, a team of misfits coming together. Yeah. And I bet this movie will have a good second week.
Yeah.
You know, when the word of mouth is really out that it's like a fun time, I think it'll do better. You know, Cap 4 had a sharp drop second week. Most Marvel movies do, but that one was pretty severe. Like, I think this one might have a good second week. And usually, you know, Marvel in the past has had like a movie around Memorial Day, and doing this one so early in May, I think gives it a longer lead, and I think it will have like a pretty decent box office by the end of it.
All right, number 4 on Fandango's list. Interesting that this was just number 4 on the list. Superman.
Okay.
July 11th. 3 movies ahead of it. Superman being number 4, I think it's just a reflection of this survey being conducted when not a ton of marketing had come out. But I think that we cannot forget how successful that week was in December. Like, Superman completely controlled the narrative that week, and that's all anyone could talk about. Right. I thought just Warner did an amazing job rolling out that introduction, and they haven't really needed.
Yeah, we haven't gotten a second true trailer. They released that kind of clip.
The CinemaCon clip of Fortress of Solitude, which I thought was also really smart.
Yeah.
Like, James Gunn was pretty strategic about that. He showed it on Tuesday night at CinemaCon and then sat on it and then released it within an hour of Disney going live on Thursday. And I'm just like, all right, dude, I see what you're doing. And it's really great. Like, yes, anytime he posts anything about James Gunn's plans or James Gunn at all or Superman, there is a weird subcurrent of people who are just going to attack it for any desperate reason they can. And then, of course, that happened here. It's almost like funny to watch them reach to try to find stuff like, wow, okay, so he's just like in pain. You want your hero to never emote or show any kind of pain? Like, it clearly isn't just sunlight that's hurting him. It's amplified sunlight by 294 times radiation. That's getting pretty powerful radiation that would burn you.
His bones are resetting.
And his bones are resetting. Like, it doesn't matter. Yes, I understand bullets and other things would bounce off of him, but if something hurt him bad enough to break his bones and puncture his lungs, he would feel that pain.
Yeah.
They're just so stupid. I think it's just so childish. And I don't even think they're real human beings. I think there's like 40 dudes and a lot of bots.
Yeah. And I think this spot at number 4, again, it makes sense, you know, audiences, we've had several iterations of Superman in cinema throughout the years to varying degrees of success, you know, and I think the most recent iteration of Superman, a lot of people liked it. A lot of people did not like it, you know, saw it very dark, very brooding. And this movie seems like it wants to get back to kind of the roots of Superman. And honestly, I think this was the biggest challenge for Warner Brothers, kind of restarting the DC universe. Is like what Superman looks like. Batman's easy. I mean, Batman is always fun. We have great times with Batman. Superman is a tough sell. He's a hero that's been around for a long time. He's like one of the first comic book heroes in the US. He has a whole coterie of powers. You can decide which ones you want to give him and which ones you don't. And I like what James Gunn's going for here with like a very, you know, cheery, good-natured Superman, bright clothes, in a world full of heroes, too. It's not going to be just him. We're not going to have an hour on the farm to start off the movie. Like, we're going to get right into it. I'm excited for this one. I will believe a man can fly.
Yeah, I will, too. I'm super pumped. I think this is the fact that it's only number 4 is just the fact that people have been burned by Superman movies in the past, and they don't know what the story of this movie is yet. They know what the vibes of the movie are or what the vibes are going for, but with a lot of these movies, we don't really know what the story is yet. A Superman story could be a lot of different things, you know? We don't know who the main villain is yet. We know Lex Luthor is a villain, but are there other villains at play?
With this movie coming out, we've had Minecraft has been out for a week now. It made a ton of money at the box office first weekend, probably going to make some more money. There was a lot of reporting that it was Warner Brothers' whole fate was on Superman. Is some of the pressure off?
Yeah,
James
I think some of the pressure
is.
Well, I think some of the cultural pressure is still on him, but some of the business pressure.
You got to keep the doors open at Warner Brothers.
Well, I think some of the pressure's off the what's it, Abdi and Luca or DeLuca, right? Who are the current Warner Brothers heads? Like that, the town has been reporting that they might be on the outs. I think they're sitting good now.
They're doing a little bit better now.
Yeah. Number 3 on the list, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Brandon's most excited.
I'm so excited for this movie. This trailer that they put out this week, so good. I'm unapologetic with my love for Mission Impossible. It's America's greatest franchise, folks.
I agree. In terms of quality, it is the best batting average.
And like, no matter what, you're going to have a good time at the theater. They look great on the big screen. There's, of course, going to be some big stunts. They've shown some stunts in this trailer, but as opposed to Dead Reckoning Part 1, which kind of gave away the big motorcycle jump in most of the trailer and the train crashing a little bit in a lot of the trailers. The report is like we haven't seen the big stunt yet. Like they're kind of hiding it for this one. And it looks like they're going to do a lot of callbacks to like previous Mission Impossibles. I'm very excited for this movie. What a cast.
What a cast. The latest trailer looks crazy.
Yes.
Because Ethan Hunt plugs into the AI.
Yeah.
And it seems to program his brain and flash back to every movie in the franchise leading up to it. So our concerns that we were talking about in the office is, are they going to do what it wasn't Quantum of Solace. It was Spectre.
Spectre, yeah.
007 Spectre did by having Blofeld as the author of all your pain. And they showed this stupid face chart of every villain from the Daniel Craig era films all being connected in some way to Blofeld. I did not like that at all.
Yeah. I mean, people are speculating it's going to be like Endgame where we go back and see some of his big adventures. There reportedly is a thing, and this was kind of held up by Dead Reckoning Part 1, never to be called Part 2, where there is a flashback sequence in that movie where a younger Ethan Hunt interacts with the villain in that movie. Whoa. But you do not see his face. Like, it's kind of in shadow.
Oh, that's right.
And there's reportedly a thing in like Tom Cruise's contracts that no other actor has, because he was like grandfathered into this, where he will not allow like a digital rendering of a younger version of his face. Like, you can't mess with it. I mean, he is using a blur filter in these movies, folks. Like, but like, he doesn't want to be de-aged or used. He doesn't want like a digital copy of himself to exist. He is Tom Cruise. You're not going to do movies without him. So like, I don't think they'll go back through old events too much. I mean, I think they might show clips from old movies, but they're not going to like redo sequences. I don't think they're going to do that. But I think they are going to establish that Ethan Hunt's actions led to the creation of the entity, and in a way, he is his own enemy in this movie. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm just excited.
I hope it's his actions and his like the way the IMF shaped the world of spycraft in this universe, as opposed to like this entity in its early forms existed on digital computing tech, like Ultron style. I don't want that. Can we avoid that?
You don't want Arnim Zola popping in?
No. Not in this world.
Yeah. My favorite thing in the trailer, twice. If you thumb through it, because there's quick flashes in it, twice in the trailer, they show the date, May 22nd, 1996, which was the premiere date of the first movie. And one of the times they show that date, there's like a note that's like, I'm still alive. I'm so excited. I don't know what they're going to do with this movie. It's so bizarre.
1996, I'm still alive.
Yeah.
What?
I think someone from the first movie is going to come back in a weird way. It's going to be great.
This is insane. Is it Emilio Estevez?
I think Emilio Estevez.
I think he'd come back.
He might come back for this one. This movie too, I think it might have a really big box office. It's coming out the same weekend as Lilo and Stitch.
Oh.
Now, famously, when Dead Reckoning Part 1 came out, it came out like a week before the Barbie movie. And Tom Cruise, they kind of warned Tom, before like Barbenheimer, they kind of warned Tom Cruise. They were like, do you want to move the date release of your movie? Because we have these two big movies coming out like the weekend after. They're going to take all the IMAXs. You're going to get pushed. And he's like, no, don't move my date. And it maybe hurt the box office of the first one, right? Because people had moved on and it was like, well, we could go see this other movie. Do you think Lilo and Stitch is going to beat Mission Impossible that weekend?
No, I don't think so. And this is why I think How to Train Your Dragon will beat Lilo and Stitch in terms of like the studio's IP live action adaptation, because I think there will be some competition between Final Reckoning and Lilo and Stitch. However, I think both movies will be lifted. Okay. You'll have the daddies who go to the Final Reckoning and the kiddies who go to Lilo and Stitch with the mommies. Although this daddy will be going to see both.
That's all. I'm very excited. Who's going to do an Ethan and Stitch weekend? You know what I mean? IMF means family, folks.
You guys some breaking news right now.
Oh yeah, breaking news coming in.
The Oscars have announced that they're adding a Best Stunt category.
Finally,
they did it. Breaking news here on the sneak peek.
But it won't happen until 2027.
Oh,
it's not eligible.
That's a bummer.
Well, do you think
what will be the first movie to win it? Avengers: Secret Wars?
Well, there's still that rumor that Tom Cruise wants to do a movie in space, right? He wants to film like a full movie in space. Is it that movie maybe? I mean, here's the thing. I don't want Tom Cruise winning the stunt Oscar. It needs to go to a stunt performer.
It needs to
and
go.
Tom Cruise is a stunt performer. Don't get me wrong. He does his own stunts, but the man can get his own acting Oscars. Let the cast of Fall Guy get like.
It needs to be
Oscars.
like a group like the Fall Guy, directed by one of the people who used to do stunts.
Someone in John Wick who goes down 10 flights of stairs. Like let them win this Oscar. I'm glad they're finally doing it.
It's been long overdue.
It's been so long overdue. Stunt workers do the best work in Hollywood, and especially in an age where like digital stunts are like replacing stuff and it's all CG. Like the more real stunts we can get in there, the better, which is why I'm excited for Thunderbolts, because there's a lot of real stunts in that movie.
You want to know why they added that category?
Why?
Because no one watches the Oscars anymore. Well, so they're like, let's get some box office movies in the categories.
Maybe that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Why not? But also there's a lot of artistry that goes into stunt choreography and stunt execution that is on par with the artistry that goes into all these other categories.
Should we be giving awards for art? I don't know. This gets into a bigger conversation.
I don't really care.
Do you know why the Oscars started?
Orson Welles?
Well, the Oscars really got started because the actors at the time, you know, they were on those like contracts with the studios where they would be locked in. You know, Warner Brothers would own you as an actor and you have to do like 10 movies for Warner Brothers. And the actors started getting together and they were like, this is BS. Like, they shouldn't be treating us like this. We have the power. They started bonding together. And the studios were like, we got to split these actors up. So they introduced awards to make them go against each other. And that's where we are now.
Well, somewhere in the middle, you want to know why the Oscars are so popular is Harvey Weinstein.
Oh.
And he changed the whole publicist
Who's that guy?
industry. Yeah, well, that'll be in
What's that guy all about?
a future what the is happening.
Evan, look up Harvey Weinstein for me real fast. Yeah. Tell me what he's all about. What's he up to these days?
All right, so the top two movies on Fandango's list of most anticipated summer movies. Number 2, Fantastic Four: First Steps, coming July 25th. And number 1, Jurassic World Rebirth.
Okay.
Fandango survey respondents said that is their number 1 most anticipated film, Jurassic World Rebirth. Now, I think it's interesting that Fantastic Four: First Steps is higher, but I think that just speaks to the...
or you mean that Jurassic World is higher?
What I was saying, Jurassic World: First Steps higher than like Superman and Mission Impossible is because like the Marvel machine is still very much in play. Jurassic World Rebirth, though, the fact that it is a Jurassic franchise, which never count them out, and the fact that you have Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali in this movie, I think this is an easy $1 billion. I think this movie's going to make a ton of money.
I want this movie to be great. As a big Jurassic
I'm not saying it's going to be great, but I'm saying it's going to make a lot of money.
I want it to be great. I mean, you know, the Jurassic franchise has been chasing the dragon of that first movie forever. They've never lived up to it again. And I don't think this movie will even live up to the hype of that movie. But I was excited by the first trailer. I'm still like a little skittish, you know, but one thing I do like about what this movie seems to be doing is like making the dinosaurs scary again and not our friends anymore. Like I want us to be scared of the dinosaurs. That's what you want, right? And I feel like the last couple movies in the Jurassic World franchise were like, oh, we gotta love the dinosaurs. They're our friends. Blue's friends with us and we're helping save Blue's baby. Like, no, screw that.
Yeah,
we gotta be scared of these dinosaurs. They want to eat us.
They're not our friends. They're monsters.
Not our friends. They're evil monsters that God took off the planet and we brought back.
Yeah, and made them worse.
Yeah.
With our own meddling.
Now, do you think Fantastic Four: First Steps will hit $1 billion?
I think it will. I think we'll see at least $3 billion movies with Superman, Fantastic Four: First Steps, and Jurassic World. And then I really do think How to Train Your Dragon will surprise us. I think Universal's going to have a very good summer. Fantastic Four: First Steps just has a lot of pressure on it.
Yeah.
You know, there's only positive vibes around the dragon franchise.
Yeah, How to Train Your Dragon's getting great.
Yeah,
Time.
and if they made like a good, like The Lion King made $1 billion, Aladdin, the live action, made $1 billion. So I think all these other franchises have a bit of stink over the time.
Right.
And that's not to say these movies won't be good, but I'm just saying Fantastic Four First Steps, you can see there's a lot to live up to. And it was interesting, this Entertainment Weekly article that came out this week that we went into on the Break Room channel this week, and then I made a video summarizing it on the New Rockstars channel on Friday. But they kind of talk about in this article how like all the past Fantastic Four movies have not been box office hits. And I'm like, wait, hold on. No, Fantastic Four in 2005 and Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer did pretty well. And I think for a while, Fantastic Four, directed by Tim Story, was like the highest grossing movie made by a black director until Ryan Coogler's Black Panther. Yeah. Now, it's not to say Fantastic Four, I don't have the box office figures in front of me, but it did very well. But I guess even that wasn't enough. Historically, we look back at those two movies, it's just like, they were these kind of lesser appreciated films. Obviously, Josh Trank's Fantastic Four in 2015 bombed. Well, he did everything he could to make sure it bombed.
Days before it came out, he was on Twitter being like, "This movie stinks. It's not my vision." Yeah. That movie had a lot of bad press going into it, and rightfully so. Yeah, it was a little bit of a mess.
But I think this movie has a lot going for it. I think the vibes will be interesting. It's just a movie set in an alternate universe, 1960s. It's going to hope that literally everyone who saw Pixar's Incredibles and their kids go see this movie, because that's the vibe, right? Plus, all the Marvel diehards go see this movie. I think they can count on them going to see this movie. But it's just interesting that, when we see people in public and they're like, hey, new rock stars, I'll always ask them like, so between Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, what are you more excited for? A lot of people are saying like they're more excited for Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
I'm personally way more excited for Fantastic Four. I loved WandaVision. I love everything Matt Shakman is doing with the MCU. I love this grouping of 4 actors. I love an alternate universe. I love a Galactus story. I love a Franklin Richards story now. This movie right now, I don't need anything more. But I think there's just, there's different subdivisions of the Marvel fan base. And I think some of them want a big action heavy kind of simple story that doesn't deal with a lot of like space mythology.
I'm very excited to see a MCU movie not set in the 616. This whole movie is not going to be in the universe that we know, which gives them so much freedom. Matt Shakman's been talking about how fun it's been just work outside of like kind of the restrictions of the 616. We still haven't seen Reed Richards stretch. Want to see what the stretching looks like. As far as I know, I haven't read anything about any screenings for this movie. I don't know. I haven't read any reports of anyone who's seen the full movie. So there's a lot of anticipation of what this is going to look like. People at CinemaCon got some looks at what the Silver Surfer looks like, but they have not released that footage yet at the time that we're recording this. So a lot of anticipation for this movie. I'm very excited to see it. I'm hyped for it. Probably more hyped than I am for Jurassic World Rebirth. And I am hyped for Jurassic World Rebirth, but I'm very excited to see this Fantastic Four movie. The score, Michael Giacchino, get out of here.
I think of the different scores that are going to be filling our ears, the Fantastic Four First Steps Giacchino score has got to be the best. I mean, they're going to be using samples of John Williams scores for Jurassic World Rebirth. We know we're going to hear some samples of John Williams' score for Superman, but he has a different composer. The composer he worked with on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, James Gunn does for Superman. And it seems like they're going for some Top Gun Maverick vibes in there. I think for the score alone, I'm excited for Fantastic Four First Steps. Okay, so what are our individual? I want to hear your top 5. We've seen what Fandango says.
Yeah. I mean, my top 5 are probably Fandango's top 5. Well, here's what I'll say. I'm very excited. Fantastic Four First Steps, Superman, Thunderbolts, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning is probably my number 1. There's one not on this list that I'm very excited for this summer, F1.
Oh, yeah. F1's going to rock. That's the same Top Gun Maverick director, right?
They do this kind of survey, and I'm sure it's just a list of movies, and people saw F1 and they had no idea what it meant. I don't like racing. I don't watch the show on Netflix that everyone loves. I should get into it, but I'm not a big Formula One guy or anything, but whatever the director of Top Gun Maverick wants to put into movies, I'm here for it. And F1, the footage they showed at CinemaCon sounded awesome. I'm very excited to see this in a movie theater. So I would add that on my list. I am excited for Jurassic World Rebirth, but that would probably be my number 6 if I were to list them out. What about you?
My number 1 is Superman. I'm ready for it. I need it. My number 2 is Jurassic World. Sorry. My number 2 is Fantastic Four: First Steps. Jessica and I did a similar ranking at the end of last year, and I don't think it's changed that much, but 28 years later has crept up to number 3. I'm most excited for that after those 2. And then probably after that would be Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning, and then Thunderbolts. Yeah. No, Jurassic World tops Thunderbolts. So Thunderbolts would be number 6 for me on my list.
Okay.
I'm very excited for Mission Impossible, though. Yeah. Again, as we said, best franchise. It is
so good.
It's only had one so-so.
Yeah.
Two was so-so. Yeah.
And let us know in the comments what your most anticipated movies are this summer. Maybe you're a Phoenician scheme head. Yeah. And you can't wait for that one.
Or maybe you're
Final Destination Bloodlines.
Bloodlines, yeah. Final Destination Bloodlines didn't make the list. Pixar's Elio didn't make the list.
Final Destination Bloodlines, that might be a sneaky movie that has the best profit margin, right? Yeah. I don't know what that movie costs to make, but that could have like a fun box office where people go to see it multiple times and they're spitting blood everywhere or something like that. Yeah. Who knows?
It's going to be very interesting to revisit this conversation in August, where we now know kind of the state of the MCU a bit better after Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. We'll know the state of the DCU a lot better after Superman. And I think, box office aside, we're going to get a sense of like confidence in the future of both of these, because these are both like the most confident swings the studios are taking. Like they're saying this is what our future will look like. Even though Fantastic Four is set in an alternate universe, I think they're talking about this is the future of the storytelling we're able to build when we're building a new setting. And Battleworld will be a new setting.
Yeah.
Whatever the MCU looks like on the other side of Secret Wars, that's built by Franklin Richards, the son who gets introduced in this movie. Like how excited we are for Franklin Richards coming out of this movie is going to be very important for the future of the MCU.
Yeah. I think starting with Thunderbolts, it's kind of their, we're really in the run through the end of phase 6, right? Like they had some, the previous movies, they were either doing reshoots or moving release dates or changing plans midstream. Like this now feels like we're in the run of like, okay, we have this fully planned out. Here's what we want to do.
Yeah, they're really centering, like, yes, the first family of Marvel are extremely important. Their chemistry, the love they feel for each other, the relationship dynamics, the empathy they have for each other, and just the values. The personality of Reed Richards as just this brilliant engineer and everyman who could do everything. And Sue Storm is what we now know is the head of the Future Foundation as kind of a global peacekeeping force. And their son, Franklin Richards, is going to be the reality warper who fixes the universe after we're done with Battleworld and Secret Wars. So Marvel's future depends on us trusting this family to take care of us and trusting them to take care of the son and instill in that son certain values to make the world a better place and make it a more exciting, fun place. So if it works, it will really work in ways that we won't even see until like 3 or 4 years from now. Like getting this right is as important to the MCU as getting Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark right back in 2008's Iron Man. And then similarly, James Gunn understands this for Superman. Like we have to really, really love this take on Kal-El and Clark Kent and really love like the world that he occupies, because that world it's going to need to be occupied by a Batman and the 2 Lanterns of the Lantern series and a Wonder Woman and a Supergirl. And I think who has the harder task between James Gunn and Kevin Feige with these 2 films?
I would say James Gunn has the harder task. Yeah. I think even if, I think Marvel has established itself enough, when people talk about like superhero fatigue and all that, they often cite Marvel movies, but at the end of the day, they still do really well. And I think people will keep returning to the franchise, even when they maybe didn't like the movie before. Whereas everyone else who's tried this, the DCEU, the SPUMC, they've tried and they've ultimately stopped, know, and Marvel's the only one that's kept going. Even the Wizarding World kind of gave up, right? After those 3 Fantastic Beasts films, they're going to restart with like a whole new series. So I think the hardest thing right now is on James Gunn because, this doesn't work. I don't know what the future of the DCU looks like.
And maybe a long time
before. And he took this on himself. He directed it. He wrote it. So it's like, this is all on him. And if this doesn't work, then, they're going to have to like really think about what they want to do with the DCU.
Yeah, I agree. I think we can have like an A- Fantastic Four first steps and still be okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. So let's look ahead to what's coming up next week on New Rockstars. So tonight will be the season premiere of The Last of Us Season 2. The Easter egg breakdown that I'm working on is coming out to the channel tomorrow. I have an early press screener just for episode 1. But here's the thing. Starting next week, we don't have press screeners anymore. We weren't one of the privileged press people who gets access to screeners for all 7 episodes. We only got the first one.
Yeah, we're outside the walls of Jackson, unfortunately.
That's right.
Where the monsters live.
We're the monsters. So starting next week, the Easter egg breakdowns will come out on Tuesdays because we'll be watching those episodes with you on Sunday nights, as they come out. And then we'll need like 12 hours to write those and research those. So our Easter egg breakdowns will come out on Tuesdays starting next week. But, for tonight's episode, you'll be able to see it tomorrow on New Rockstar. So that'll be nice. And then on the Break Room channel, be sure to join us at 11 a.m. Where the after show will be happening. We'll be able to take your questions. We'll be live streaming, answering all your questions and theories. And then if you don't know what happens in part 2 of the game, don't worry. We're going to take care of you. We're going to avoid just blurting out spoilers. We'll have ways to warn you before we get into the spoiler stuff or what happens, because those of you who do know what happens in the games, we want to be able to take your questions as well and hear your theories on how this is all gonna be adapted. So that's tonight and tomorrow. Jessica is working on a breakdown of some of the Easter eggs you might have missed in Minecraft.
Oh my gosh.
Or that your kid missed. Or that you did not understand at all and your kid tried to explain to you on the way home after they kicked him out for throwing popcorn.
You had to pick him up early because the cops came.
That's right. So, but it's a very successful movie. Seems like a lot of fun for a lot of people and whatever. Jessica is working on that breakdown. That's coming, we think, on Tuesday. Wednesday will be our breakdown of the finale of Daredevil Born Again. Of course, we'll have Jessica and my reaction to that finale on Tuesday evening. And then on Wednesday morning, back on the Break Room channel, we'll be answering all your questions and hearing your theories as we live stream our after show for Daredevil Born Again, episode 9. And then the Easter egg breakdown will come out. But if you support the New Rockstars channel as a member at the Rewatcher status tier, you'll be able to get that Easter egg breakdown of the finale of Daredevil Born Again just a couple hours early and ad-free.
Ooh,
there will be
nice.
no ads on it. No ads whatsoever will be anywhere on that video that you'll be able to access by hitting that join button and supporting us on the Rewatcher tier or higher. And then later this week, who knows? We'll see. Friday is Superman Day. We might get the next trailer for Superman on Friday. And if we do, we'll be covering that however we can. I think that covers us for everything.
I think so. Yeah, and if they haven't released a Fantastic Four trailer yet, at the time we recorded this, maybe we'll get one next week. We're hoping.
Yes,
we're
hopefully.
hoping. We want to see that Silver Surfer.
Yeah, we got to see her. All right, let's end with a segment of what
we're watching.
What have you been watching outside of this stuff?
Yeah, at the time we're recording this, they haven't shown the finale for The Pit yet, but by the time you're seeing this, I've seen the finale for The Pit, and I'm devastated.
Explain to the viewers what The Pit is.
Yes, I talk about The Pit all the time. The Pit is a show on Max. It's 15 episodes. It's set in an emergency room in Pittsburgh, and each episode follows 1 hour consecutively in the same day, and it is a bad day.
So it sounds like it's ER meets 24?
Exactly, but don't tell Michael Crichton's estate that, because they're suing.
Are they?
Well, yes. Apparently, originally the show was pitched. Noah Wiley, who stars in the show and was on the original ER as Dr. John Carter, he is an executive producer of the show, and they wanted to do an ER reboot. And they took this to Michael Crichton's estate. Michael Crichton wrote some short stories, which both St. Elsewhere and ER are based on. And they went back and forth with the estate, and eventually the estate was like, nah, we don't want to do it. So they retooled the show, made it completely different. It has nothing to do with ER, and it's doing well. And now the estate is suing, saying like, it has the same production team and the same creative elements, and it's set in an emergency room. And it's like, listen, ER had their chance when Chicago Hope came out. That was a total ripoff of ER. They didn't go after him then. So you're too late. You don't own all the medical dramas, Michael Crichton's estate.
That's right. Exactly.
Let it go.
And especially if it's the estate. It'd be one thing if it was Crichton himself suing, but it's someone's great-grandnephew who just wants their nut, who did nothing to contribute to what ER was.
Right. Well, I think it's his widow who, you know, maybe was there to help him make creative decisions. I don't know.
Who didn't? Who doesn't? Who's already getting royalties from a number of other things. She's going to get a cut of Jurassic World Rebirth this summer. It's going to make $1 billion. They're doing fine. You don't need everything.
But The Pit is great. I also want to shout out The Studio on Apple TV.
Oh, The Studio.
Really fun show.
So fun.
Set in Hollywood about a fictional movie studio. Lots of Seth Rogen plays kind of the head of the studio. Catherine Hahn's in it, and lots of celebrities kind of playing themselves in a very fun way. It's a lot of fun. It's very energetic. It's funny. It's very easy to watch. Little half-hour episodes. Really like The Studio on Apple TV.
Yeah,
great show.
John and I were talking about it last week, and since then a fourth episode has come out.
Yes.
That is kind of without spoiling it, kind of a Chinatown
a
parody
noir.
little bit. It's kind of a noir mystery that's very fun. I will say of the 4 episodes, it's just probably the most indulgent of them. Because it kind of it feels like when Community did the Goodfellas parody a little bit, right?
right.
Where it just got a little silly, but it's also when a lot of people started to love Community.
Yeah.
This show doesn't need to do that. This show is already just like a pitch perfect cutting satire of the industry. It's like it's what I wanted Entourage to be, and it's so much better than Entourage.
They're
So
very
much
willing
better.
to make fun of themselves on this show, which sets it apart from Entourage.
Yeah, or the way they make fun of themselves on Entourage is just like bros roasting each other, but ultimately they win.
Yeah.
It's like if Entourage had the kind of hatred for its characters that Veep had or Silicon Valley had. Because Silicon Valley, Richard never wins. Richard always comes up short, and that's what The Studio is.
Yeah. What are you still watching? I assume Survivor.
And Survivor. And we don't need to get into it because I haven't made a lot of progress. But those of you who are following my Survivor journey, just know I'm in the middle of Blood versus Water, which is a very fun season. And John, God bless him, didn't spoil this for me. But Blood versus Water, one of a returning player is the wife of Brad Culpepper, of an NFL player.
Okay.
Who's a Florida boy. He came from the Tampa area. Known to be a pretty nice guy, but on the season of Survivor, total dirtbag. He just he comes off like such a jerk, and he's kind of like, I think it's just mostly the edit, but really just other people on the show hate him. Not everyone, but some people on the show hate him and are so aggressive with him, and he kind of gets over defensive, which makes him look kind of jerk. But there's plenty of moments where it's like, oh no, you're just like kind of playing, and your wife is part of the Survivor. So but there's one moment where if you watch Survivor season 1, Jervis from season 1 comes back in Blood versus Water, and he brings his niece, who is wonderful in her own right. And at one point on Redemption Island, she's in the arena and she turns up to Brad Culpepper and says, quote, "Fuck you, Brad Culpepper." And full name. And it's one of the best things to ever happen on Survivor. I lost it. I had to pause and rewind it. And then the only bad thing about this is this moment gets ruined by my least favorite Survivor player ever, a guy named Colton, who's just should not have ever joined Survivor, takes this moment away from Jervis's niece and says, "Jeff, I need to quit." And he starts crying, and Jeff just tears him apart and says, there's some people who watch Survivor who sit on the couch and think they should do this and could do this, and there's some people who never should have gotten off the couch, and that's you, Colton.
I like
and
that.
Just tears him apart.
I like it.
Jeff is now in his sassy era, where he's been an executive producer of the show for several seasons now, but now I think his manager or someone gave him some advice like, the viewers like it when he gets sassy and start yelling at people and get involved.
At this point, he's probably at this point, I assume, like, I'm doing this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, this is his forever job. He's not moving on to Amazing Race. There's nowhere to graduate to.
That reminds me of like on the challenge when if someone quits, TJ hates it.
TJ hates it when people quit, or when they're like, "Wait, you can't eat those cow guts?"
Yeah.
That's weak. Come on,
Yeah, I like it when the host gets angry if you don't want to play the game.
If you're not a competitor, if you give up. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. So, but that's where I'm at. I haven't made a lot of progress on Blood versus Water, but I am enjoying the season. I'm moving fast. I'm trying to get all this stuff done before Survivor 50, just because I want to be caught up by Survivor 50.
You want to be in real time.
Like, I will do whatever it takes. We will put our son in daycare on a weekend just so that we can watch Survivor on a day and just have the laziest couple weekends. I mean, we've done it before. We've gotten through a whole season on a Sunday before.
Can you watch what streaming platform are you watching on?
It's on Paramount Plus.
Can you do faster speed on Paramount Plus?
I don't think so, and I don't think we would. I kind of want to savor the moments on it. Yeah.
I feel like anytime I see it on TV, I tune in. It's just people sitting around talking, and I'm not having a good time.
But that's it's part of the fun.
But if I don't know what's going on, I don't know.
Yeah, you got to get caught up. You and your wife need to start at the beginning.
No, I'm a challenge boy.
I was too. I used to only be a challenge boy. But because I like the challenge, because I like the traders,
right.
I'm like, all right, there's a whole Survivor universe of people. There's people on the challenge who were on Survivor first.
I know.
Yeah, you should check it out. I think you'd like it.
Maybe.
All right, comment down below with what movie you're most excited for this summer at the box office and whether you think Fantastic Four has the goods. Are they going to do it? Are they going to fix it? We want to give a special thanks to one of our YouTube members, Frederick Price, who supports us at the executive producer level. Another reminder, just hit that join button. And if you're able to support us that way, we very, very much appreciate it. Thank you so much to Brandon and Barrick for joining.
Thank you, Erik.
Episode.
Always a joy. I love talking summer movies. And anytime I can hype up Mission Impossible, baby, I'm here to do it.
I was about to start doing the theme, but we've had other YouTube colleagues of ours just humming the theme and getting demonetized for that. So we're not going to do that.
Paramount, let us sing the theme.
Let us sing the theme. Subscribe to all the channels of the New Rockstars Network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.